Welcome to Real Estate from an Attorney's Perspective. My name is Bill Mason from Mason & Mason. I'm a real estate attorney in Garden City, New York, and today I want to talk to you about 1031 exchanges. All right, so this is a topic that I think that any real estate investor should know about. It's a great way to defer paying your capital gains tax when you sell real estate and potentially avoid paying it altogether if you keep the property till you pass away and your heirs get the property with a stepped-up basis, meaning basically they'll get the property at the fair market value when you pass. So this is a really important tool. I think just about all of my investors, anytime they sell, they'll do a 1031. It's very rare that they'll take the money out. And so I just want to go over basically the 4 general requirements to do a 1031 exchange. The first thing is it has to be property that you hold for investment. So it's not going to be like your primary residence or your vacation home that you don't rent out. It's going to be a commercial property that you're renting, something that, is an investment property, a 4-family house, an office building, something along those lines. Okay, so that's the first component to it. The second component to it is that you typically want to buy a property of greater or equal or greater value. You can buy a property that's of less value, but there'll be a degree of tax that's due, and this is commonly known as boot. That's the terminology they use for it. The third component is that the vesting has to match, right? So if the property is held in XYZ Corporation, when you sell, right, the property that you buy is generally held in the same corporation. It's the same vesting on the buy and the sell. There are some exclusions for this where you have a LLC you stick in there and you can treat it as a disregarded entity, but those are things that you usually want to deal with your accountant or your tax attorney before you start making any decisions about changing the vesting in any way. Okay, so those are the first 3 things. Then you have the time periods, right? So when you sell the investment property, they don't let you just hang on to the money forever until you decide what you want to do with it. They have very, very strict guidelines on how long you have to decide what you want to buy and then how long it takes for you to close on the property. Generally, with very limited circumstances, there's no getting an extension. So the first thing is that once you close on the property you're selling, you have 45 days to identify a property you might want to buy, and there's certain specific criteria on how you do that, okay? You can generally identify up to 3 properties that you may close on without any other criteria. If you're identifying more than that, then there are some criteria you have to fall within. So that's the first element of identification. And then the next element is that you have to close on one of those properties within 180 days of when you close on the property you're selling. So those are the 4 general elements for a 1031 exchange. Now, there's more to it, but I just try to break it down in a basic way for you guys to think about it. Next, I want to talk to you about just the mechanics of how it works. Okay, so the first thing that would happen is when you sell the property, you will include in the contract language that says that you're doing a 1031 exchange, and it generally assigns the rights in the contract to the intermediary that you're going to hire that facilitates the exchange for you. And this person that you're hiring or this company that you're hiring, okay, will also hold all of the proceeds that comes from the sale. So you can't touch any of the money. When you go to closing and you're in that period from where you're going to identify and close on the next property, the 1031 intermediary holds the money. You do not touch it. If you touch the money, basically is a problem for the exchange. But I want to talk to you about who holds the money. It's really important that you choose somebody to hold the money that is going to not steal the money. I know that you probably think that's crazy I'm talking about that, but if you Google it, you'll see that there's a lot of instances where these intermediaries steal money. And so what I always refer to my clients is one of the underwriters for an insurance company. So we tend to use Fidelity National Titles, a company that they have as an affiliate. It's called IPX 1031. They're a company that national, you can use them anywhere in the country. They have great counsels there that can help you with anything. especially when we are selling a New York property where we're involved as an attorney, and like other times they're buying a property out of state where they don't use attorneys. And so whether it's Fidelity or I believe Stewart Title has one, or First American, we strongly think that you should use one of those big companies, because at least you know that your money's safe. If you're not using one of them, you really should do some investigation into the company that you're putting your money with. These are usually large sums of money, it could be in the millions, and you really want to make sure that you're putting it someplace that it's safe, okay? So you've closed, the intermediary has the money, you've got to sign an agreement with the intermediary that lays out your responsibilities and how the whole exchange is going to work, okay? Basically, everyone signs almost the same thing, but so there's an agreement with the intermediary, and then you'll do the identification, the 45 days to identify that we talked about at the beginning of the video, and you'll have then the 180 days to close. It's actually 180 days from the date of the closing, the sooner of the closing, or the tax filing deadline, including all extensions for the relinquished property, okay? When you close, what will happen is you'll go to the closing, and then the intermediary will wire the funds that they're holding to your seller. This is the procedure. It's not terribly difficult. It's done all the time. And if you're an investor and you're selling property, it's something you got to be thinking about whenever you sell some real estate. I hope that this is helpful. It's a very brief outline of how this works, but I figure that it's something that I could quickly explain to people so they'll get an idea about it and something they'll be thinking about when they're selling their property. I hope this was helpful, and if there's anything you'd like us to talk about, let us know. Comment in the bottom, like, subscribe, share. It helps the channel, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much.